this year is special because for the first time, all the spoilers are out, all the endings are known, there is nothing the cast cannot talk about. And we're going to ask about a lot of your burning questions about the final season. So I'd like for you to give a huge welcome to the final Game of Thrones Comic-Con panel. We're going to bring him out right now. He's an honorable man whether he likes it or not. As Jaime Lannister.
Yeah!
Coster-Waldau.
Hey guys.
Our new master of ships as Davos Seaworth, it's Liam Cunningham. Commander of the Unsullied as Grey Worm, it's Jacob Anderson. A girl has no equal. Stark, it's Maisie Williams. As our new Grand Maester of the Six Kingdoms, Samwell Tarly, John Brown. He was Master of Whispers and right all along as Varys, it's Conleth Hill. And finally, hail to the king, as Bran Stark, it's Isaac Hempstead Wright. And maybe some more time has passed. How are you now feeling about the end of Varys?
Well, I don't regret starting the petition. To be very honest, I did an interview with DW way after we'd finished the show. And the question was, how did you feel at the time? And I was very honest that I was absolutely gutted to get so close but not make the end. But then what?
Oh. It is inside your head.
Nobody else hear that voice? Assholes. So, I thought I gave a very honest answer to how I felt, but I put it in the context of that was one of the risks in being in a multi-character show. And I thought the whole initial interview was very balanced, but as you say, it was picked over like a whale on a beach, and they took all the negative out of it and didn't put any of the positive in. So for the record, I loved all my 10 years on Game of Thrones. I started when I was 15. Shut your face. Not funny. And it was a life-changing experience, and I met wonderful people on and off screen who I worked with who were beautiful inside and out. And the one thing that last series was about was the futility of conflict and the pointlessness of war. And if that, you get one thing from that whole show, take that, because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And we're here to thank you for watching us for all those years.
Yes.
And we were never divisive as a cast. We didn't fight among each other. We always did our hardest work and crew for you. And so we're very grateful for your fandom over the years. And I think this is the reality rather than a sort of media-led hate campaign that was also.
Yeah. Woo!
And also remember, it's like it was surprising the level of, the absurdity of an online petition.
Yes.
of course, the HBO are going to change the whole thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's the power of the internet. But every season we had huge controversies, and there was like, from Ned Stark being killed, it was like, I'm never going to watch that piece of shit show again. Terrible. And then there was the Red Wedding, and there was every season. And I think, obviously, the end in a show that, I think it's been. Feel so lucky to have met so many people just here, but also fans of the show, and realizing that this show has brought so many people together, watching it, loving it. So obviously, it comes to an end. It's gonna piss you off no matter what, because it's the end.
Yeah. Woo!
And of course, but at the end of the day, it's absolutely fine. I mean, it's if you hated the ending, if you loved it, that's great. Just don't call people names.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, it's almost a metaphor for life. It's not arriving at the end. That's the point of this whole thing. It was the journey. And again, to go back to all of us here in this room and the millions of fans, and we reckon, like I started at the beginning of season 2 when it just started to create waves, and to watch that grow, and to be on the set when we were doing the work. And the reason you guys are here is because you could recognize the amount of love that we had in making this show. And we and you were all on this journey together. We weren't just delivering something we thought was nice or good or great to you. We didn't know where it was going to go. Nobody knew how big it was going to get. And all of us here feel absolutely blessed to have been part of it, as much as, and we're all fans of the show. We all did our little bit. And we're all huge fans of the show. You have to be. It's a beautiful, beautiful storytelling, and I'm blessed to be a part of it, and blessed to watch it.
And I think that's it. If it's not the story you want, it doesn't make it any less.
Is there anything, with the benefit of hindsight, that you wish had been done differently?
I should have been on the throne. Isn't it obvious?
Liam's agent.
Actually, it's my publicist.
Speaking of endings, I want to get into some specific burning questions about the final season for each of you that I'm actually quite excited to ask. Nikolaj, you've strongly defended Jaime's choice to return to Cersei as exactly what his character would do based on everything that we've previously seen. But if Jaime had somehow survived being stabbed by Euron and being covered in rubble, and Cersei had not, do you think that a relationship with
Then we would have
Brienne-
shipped Brady. Yes. It would have been Brienne and Jaime forever, ever.
Are you being serious? Because your character was very much like bit divided on that, saying, "Oh no, this couldn't work because I'm too morally far gone. We're too morally different."
I think he's got a lot of baggage, and I think she would probably find out after a few weeks, and she'd go, "No, I'm going to have to move on to someone else." It's too complicated. Tormund, yes.
Look, you and Tormund.
And then get killed by Jon as a way of seizing the throne for himself. And I'm wondering what you think of that.
Well, I don't think Bran knows per se exactly what's going to happen in the future. I don't think he's not a fortune teller. He's got the entirety of the past at his fingertips, but I think his sort of vision of the future is slightly cloudier. So that's my excuse for why Bran didn't say anything. But I think it's quite cool that it's left slightly ambiguous and that you can read into it. I've read loads of things where like Bran is actually still the Night King or whatever, you can sort of read into those situations and think, wow, has Bran just sort of sat back and let the Starks win, or is he really, a bad guy all along? And I think that's kind of what was one of the cleverest things about the ending, is that it doesn't conclude everything very neatly. You don't have your sort of set endings and you can sit back and go, right, well this happened to them and this happened to them. It's left totally open. The kingdom's in total disarray. Arya's going off to start her own journey. Sansa's now queen. Bran is king, and they're storylines that could, you know, warrant their own spin-off, but they don't. But they're left in, you know, they're not finished. There's no full stop. There's no period. So it's almost as if the world of Game of Thrones exists still somewhere in the ether, which I think is quite nice. That it's not finished conclusively. It lets you kind of read into it, like with the evil Bran theory. Three-eyed ravens or anything to go by. It's not going to be anyone succeeding Bran for a couple of thousand years. So there will be no one alive at the moment. I don't know. I think it'd be fun. Maybe the Night King's still knocking about somewhere, and he'll pop up when Bran dies. We're like, oh, you can carry on, mate.
And Maisie, I saved you for last in this round, but I have two for you. First, is Arya let down poor Gendry as sweetly as Arya being Arya could. But if after she's like toured around a little bit and come back and visit Sansa, does he have any chance?
I think Arya has always been a lone wolf. I think she's always felt like a bit of a misfit in her own family, and I don't think being with a partner is what would make her feel the most at home or the most fulfilled. So I think that was kind of what that whole exchange was. It was just trying to understand that and know that it isn't necessarily what she wants, which is like an important learning curve for everyone, I think. So they'd probably like see each other at like a friend's wedding. I'd be like, oh hey, like it's good to see you, how you been? And then they're like, oh yeah, like it's so good. And you're like, cool.
So Gendry shouldn't wait around. Yeah. And another one for you. After Arya killed the Night King, some Jon Snow insisted that one reason she did this was because they thought Jon Snow was yelling, go, 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 and he was distracting the Ice Dragon so Arya could run in and make her move. So let's settle this. Did Arya run in and kill the Night King on her own, or was Jon Snow helping her and she was doing what Jon Snow was telling her to do?
On her own.
She did it on her own. Well, you know, if we're going to give credit to anyone, then it's Melisandre. Melisandre knew what she had to do to put the mission in Arya's head when she's really at like the lowest point. I think particularly for that episode, this is the first time that she's been fighting, but now she has something to lose. For so long she's been on her own, and being back with her family has made her that much more vulnerable. And I think if we're gonna, you know, put it down to anyone for getting Arya's head back on track and helping her to like go and finish the job, it was Melisandre and the brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, blue eyes. All the eyes.
Nikolaj, and kind of go down the line here.
My favorite was the line when we found out why Hodor was Hodor. So hold the door.
Yes! Woo!
Liam?
I've been really lucky. There's so many beautiful lines in this show, but one of the favorite Davos lines is, and put your fingers in your ears. Nothing fucks you harder than time. I think that's magnificent and so true. They were like that to me all the time on the set, all the time.
Jacob?
I'm not like, I know this is really obvious, but Vala Morghulis is like, I think it's it's a very obvious statement. All men must die, but I think it kind of encapsulates the show in a really powerful way. I just think it sounds cool. Liam, you're welcome to.
Thank you. Next.
I'm going to selfishly choose one of my own lines. I really liked Not Today. I have nothing to add.
I'm going to pick one of my own as well, and I've always liked lines of dialogue that tell a complete story outside of the own entity that is the sentence. And when I first read the line, I always wanted to be a wizard, back in season 1, I just thought, oh, that's a funny line. But I think the more you learn about Sam, the more you realise what a story that line tells about his childhood. Because you're dealing with somebody whose childhood was so tough and so hard and so brutal and unforgiving that he had to create this alternative reality for himself to exist in. And he always wanted to be a wizard because he always wanted to be something other than what he was. He always wanted. I just have this idea of him going to bed and waking up and just I'm still the same. I've not changed, and I would give anything to change.
Wow.
And those kind of worlds are created by people who find reality tough and find the body that they inhabit a tough place to inhabit. So it's not just, it's a funny line on the surface, but the more you learn about him, the more you learn about his childhood, his relationship to his former self, and the journey that he goes on, you realise that tells you everything you need to know about what he came from and what he's grown out of.
Hi. I think RuPaul Drag Race Series 3 was...
Oh, it would have to be from this series.
Oh, okay. I loved I Drink and I Know Things.
Definitely a fan.
And that wasn't one of my lines. Good night, everyone. Brilliant Peter Dinklage as Tyrion. Yeah. I drink and I know things.
I think this is kind of one of my lines. It was originally Littlefinger's, and it was in that great exchange between Varys and Littlefinger. And the whole speech is brilliant, but when he says chaos is a ladder, that kind of sums up a lot of the world of Game of Thrones and how you get ahead in it. And I especially love that because I got to repeat that back to Littlefinger in a scene, which it's not often you put Littlefinger on the back foot. So that was something really fun to get to do as an actor.
Was it?
Right? What was your reaction after the finale when that photo started circulating everywhere?
Well, it's interesting you should ask this question now after that whole pathological fear of getting in trouble shtick. But no, I've always been somebody who's taken a lot of or felt a lot of responsibility for things and felt a lot of blame for things. And so when I saw it, even though, even if it was I will say this actually, can I just say this? That I'm right-handed. I've thought about this very, very strongly. I'm right-handed. So if I'm drinking a water bottle with this hand, my right hand, right? If I was going to put it on the floor, I think I'd put it on this side of my leg, right? But the bottle was on this side. So, as a conspiracy theory, I'm not trying to clear my name here too forcefully, but I will say that there's a guy on this side who might be kind of right-handed as well. I don't think I think I've taken enough blame for this. No, I'm not going to say the name and shit.
Jacob can leave, so everybody else was dead.
So hold on a minute.
No, it's not.
And Jacob was standing up, I think.
Yeah, do you know, a good point, actually.
I don't drink water.
Yeah, I just did. When it was circulating, I was thinking, oh my God, the episode's been ruined and it's all my fault. Pardon me for being thirsty. Maybe give me a costume that's not quite so heavy in Spain. and then I wouldn't need to drink quite so much water. No, but I think there were several stages in between that day and it being on TV where that could have been gotten rid of.
Yeah.
It could have been spotted and could have been taken out, but
The Samwell doth protest too much.
I like that it was kind of half hidden. It was like kind of half behind the chair leg, like it was kind of half scooched back there, but not entirely.
Kind of poking his head out, yeah, trying to get on telly.
Well, I have one more question before we go to fan questions.
Okay.
About playing your character, not working on the show, because people always say, oh, the cast and crew, but what will you miss most about playing the character that you played? Nikolaj, would you like to start?
The money. Don't embarrass me here, Nikolaj.
What do I miss the most about playing Jaime? It was I don't know, cast and crew. Yeah, the gold hand. God, I wish I missed that gold hand. No, it is the thing. The truth is, it is the people. I mean, I know you'd like me to say, oh, it was the I don't know what you want me to say. It really was. I miss working with these guys. Coming back every year to Belfast. The crew. That's what this is. It was a human. The interaction. That's what we carry with us, and we will always carry that with us. Yeah. So.
It was a very strange thing. There's very few jobs that you go onto. They're like hen's teeth. That everybody that's on the set is like incredibly wonderful at their job. It's like a perfect storm. We had these beautiful words that we were handed by George and David and Dan, and you're working with these crews who are incredibly quiet and efficient and precise. The props, the costume, and there was a kind of a magical sense of it, and we had these incredibly long scenes that were so right. These words were so right for those characters and everything else, and it's very, very rare that something that comes along that feels almost faultless, that feels almost gorgeous, and it was just every day was a pleasure to go to work. I'll miss the elegance of it and working with people who are at the absolute top of their game, and I'll be very, very lucky if I come across that ever again.
I don't think I could say it better than these two in terms of our family that we've made making this show. And it's just the mundane things about getting up in the morning and hanging out in the makeup truck is so fun. I miss that so much every day. But in terms of a character thing, I have like a very chaotic mind, and I can be very restless, and I talk too much, and I laugh at everything, and I'm quite a panicky person. And sometimes for 5 to 10 minutes during a scene, I get to be this person who's so in control of themselves and is so still and calm, and that's been a really powerful thing for me to be able to do that. That's been really special. I didn't know that I'd be able to fall into that, and I don't think I quite realised that until sort of now, sort of this far removed from it, that was a really important thing for me and my head. And also I'm going to miss spear fights. I love spear fighting.
Along the same vein as that, I don't think that I'll ever be able to play a character that picks up a dagger without people going, like Arya, so that's, so doing all of the combat fighting and working with swords and doing something of this time period, I'll really miss that. I don't think I'll ever do anything like that again for fear of just repeating myself. So yeah, that's been incredible, and I've really loved it.
Yeah, just me, very similar sentiments about missing the people and missing that family unit and that team spirit and everything. But I think, in terms of playing Sam specifically, what I'm going to mainly miss is charting that progress that he's made. If you take a character who, when he first comes into it, is somebody who has been told his entire life, I've said it before, but he's completely worthless, he's never going to achieve anything, he's never going to change the world, he's only ever going to be a passenger and a dead weight. And over the course of those 8 seasons, you see this process of self-discovery and just realising just how much worth he has. And he finishes up in a place where he's Archmaester, and his opinion is valued, and he's valued because of the things that make him him. He's not had to change anything about himself to become valued. And I think that if you take that journey, and how unlikely that would be when you first meet him and he's got no self-esteem, to become such a valuable part of the ruling of this kingdom, then who knows what he could achieve next. That journey itself is just so unlikely, and I'm going to miss charting that very, very gradual journey from season 1 to where we leave him. So, given another 8 seasons, he could achieve literally anything he wants, and I'm going to miss charting that journey, I think.
Wow. This show began 10 years into a peace process in Northern Ireland after about 30 years of conflict. And I couldn't be prouder that it was made in a large part in the place where I was from, but what I'm most proud of is the collection of all kinds of different people. Young, old, gay, straight, black, white, male, female, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, who all work together so well and so productively, and to the credit of my homeland. And it showed you how beautiful it is there and how we can work together in peace. So I invite you all to visit us, do the Game of Thrones tours, but most of all, I want to thank you all for watching for 10 years, 8, 9, 10 years, and keeping us on TV. Thank you so much.
In terms of playing Bran, I think in the last 2 seasons it was so fun and such an interesting exercise to have to be so still and calm. It's actually quite a strange thing to do for sort of 8 hours a day, sit there during takes where there are all sorts of crazy things going on, like fights going around you, and you just have to sit there and sort of observe. It was quite it was almost sort of meditative and quite a fun experience that forced you to sort of reflect. But in general, I think what I'm going to miss most about the show, and I'm not just saying this because I'm in a room full of 6,000 fans, but it is the fans, being part of a show that people absolutely love and theorise about and draw pictures of and come up with stories about. You kind of take it for granted when you're in it, and you forget just how many people are following what you do for a living on a daily basis. And it's been such a special, unique experience to be part of something that has brought so many people joy and brought so many people together, as Nikolaj said. And I think that's something we'll all miss so much. And yeah, as Conleth said, thank you for supporting us.